one and all. As we all know, modern cyber threats makes economic and security damages for countries, institutions, and even individuals. In order to detect, recognize, and take security measures, it is highly essential to be aware of these threats. Now we are expecting a wonderful session in this regard by Team Skoliko, having a very interesting slogan, we teach how to think, not what to think. The resource person for the topic, modern cyber threat landscape and advanced attack methodologies, are Dr. Manoj PN, expert in cybersecurity and AI, Sri Vincent Thomas Varghese, AI engineer and data scientist, the two from Skoliko. A warm welcome to both of you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Now, Dr. Manoj Ray, Principal, CE Kottarakara, will deliver thanks to the attendees of the program. And dear faculty, please attend with extreme patience and comment on the positives of the program, and then only we will pass on the program to our students. Now, our Honorable Director, Dr. V. Arun Kumar, sir, he is busy with some programs and he is traveling also. He will join us at 2:17 and he will inaugurate our program and address our faculty. Sir, Arun sir?
No, ma'am. Sir hasn't not joined it. No, ma'am.
He will join us within minutes. So I am once again thankful to Sri Vincent Thomas Varghese. He was here with us at the headquarters and we have discussed everything in presence of Manoj sir also.
Yeah.
And we are thankful to sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Sir, we are expecting the entry of our beloved director.
Director, yeah, okay. We can understand because sir is also busy, that we can understand because he's traveling.
Sir, if you are interested, you can start, sir. Vincent, sir.
Yeah, I can start. I can give you a few words. Then it will be, then sir can give his then he do his inauguration. Okay. Shall I start, ma'am?
Sure.
Okay. Good afternoon, all to everyone. My name is Vincent Thomas Varghese. I'm basically a data scientist and AI engineer and founder and managing director of Skoliko. It is my pleasure for us to associate with esteemed institution like IHRD for this program. And we sincerely thank Dr. Arun Kumar, director of IHRD, for his visionary and leadership in making this initiative possible. Today's session focuses on the rapidly evolving field of cybersecurity, especially the latest threats, vulnerabilities, and modern defense strategies. As digital systems grow, understanding concepts and attack surfaces, threat detection, and security frameworks become increasingly important for educators. At Skoliko, we provide actually what we Skoliko we provide industry-oriented training and artificial intelligence in cybersecurity, machine learning, deep learning, computer vision, and blockchain, and different kinds of AI-related courses and how AI-related courses basically. This can be 3 months courses, 6 months courses, and 1 year courses. This is totally online. Weekly, weekend classes, and weekly classes we are providing. 2 hours, 3 hours classes per day, and our programs are basically hands-on and practical oriented and designed around real world use cases. We focus on bridging the gap between academic learning and industry requirements. That is what we can see. All of you teachers, you can understand the students what they are passing out from your colleges. It is very difficult to get the job, as well as they have to go for a finishing school kind of a thing. But our courses are basically industry oriented courses. They have to suppose the projects they have to come with. DPRs and LLMs and low level languages, high level languages, all those things in a project, they have to, how the industry is working. And industrial level projects, industry oriented use cases, we are giving to the students in 3 months and 6 months, especially in 6 months and 1 year courses. Also, and we are taking initiative with IHRD. We provide a 3 day industry oriented workshop for the students, and morning theory and afternoon practicals. That is totally practicals. They have to do their own. This is offline courses. Our team will come to the colleges or the sites where they are providing. We will come and we will train the students. This will help the students to understand with in what industry is required, and what industry required are expecting, what industry is expecting from a student to join their for the job. Our faculties are also was basically these 6 months and 1 year courses are suppose in cybersecurity we are creating an AI model, as well as we are applying different types of cybersecurity tools to secure the system. These tools we are applying, basically what you require is your experience is more important than anything else. Your work practices are more anything than your studies you require to get a job. And preparing them, actually all these things are experience are preparing them for a actually our 6 months course or 1 year course. Those who are attending, they can then they can just write their global certification exams and real world applications. If they are attending that exams, definitely they are able to get that kind of certifications, because our training are based on training are model like that. And our sessions are led by
Excuse me,
basically industry
Vincent
experts.
sir.
Yeah.
Vincent sir, our director is here.
Okay. Okay, sir. Okay, ma'am. 1 minute, yes.
Please call him.
Yeah.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
കേക്കാവോ?
There is
കേൾക്കാം,
there.
കേൾക്കാം, sir.
ഓക്കെ ഫൈൻ നടന്നോട്ടെ. ഞാൻ ഐ വിൽ വെയിറ്റ്. ഐ ഡോണ്ട് ഹാവ് എനി ഹറി. സംസാരിച്ചോട്ടെ, പുള്ളി സംസാരിച്ചോട്ടെ. വാട്ട് എവർ ഹി ഈസ് സ്പീക്കിംഗ്, ലെറ്റ് ഹിം കൺക്ലൂഡ്. നോ ഇഷ്യൂസ്.
Yeah, sir. Yeah. Okay, thank you, sir. And our sessions are only one more sentence only. Our sessions are led by basically industry experts, and that they are doing the program and conducted. And after this course, up in the end of this course, we are conducting a CTF, that is Capture the Flag Challenge, and this part for the participants. And it's a gamified approach actually. These winners of this CTF challenges will receive our courses. They can join our courses for 6 months course, or 1 year course for 30% reduction we will give for the course. It is fees are not very high. It's a very low level, competitive, very competitive in the market. Our fee structure, they will get a 30% reduction in our courses. And also, I would like to. I'm not accepting much. Also, I would like to thank sincere thanks and gratitude to Dr. Leda and Dr. Srikumar of IHRD for this program. Would have been not happened, would have been not possible without their efforts and continuous support. As well as I have already told, it is because of This program is happening because of Dr. Arun's initiative and his visionary and his intellectual way of dealing of latest technologies has to be incorporated, or what is happening in the industry has to be incorporated for the students. That is why this kind of programs are happening, and we are confident this program will both insightful and valuable for all of you. Thank you very much. Thanks, sir. Thanks for your time and patience. You are coming for and introducing us for inaugurating this program. Thank you very much. Yeah, ma'am, you can proceed, and sir, you can start, sir.
Sir, Arun Kumar, sir.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry, actually, ഞാനൊരു ട്രാവലിലാണ്, സോ ദാറ്റ് എനിക്ക് പറഞ്ഞ സമയത്ത് ജോയിൻ ചെയ്യാൻ കഴിഞ്ഞില്ല. എനിവേ, എല്ലാം സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യൽ സന്തോഷമുണ്ട്. ആക്ച്വലി സ്കോലിക്കോ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഓർഗനൈസേഷൻ നമ്മുടെ ഫാക്കൽറ്റിക്ക് ബേസിക് എന്താണ് സൈബർ ത്രെട്ടുകളും ന്യൂ അഡ്വാൻസ്ഡ് അറ്റാക്ക് മെത്തഡോളജീസ് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു ടോപ്പിക്കിൽ ഒരു സെമിനാർ ഇന്ന് നടത്തും എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ വളരെ സന്തോഷമുണ്ട്. നമുക്കറിയാം, നമ്മൾ ആക്ച്വലി IHRD, ആസ് യു ആർ ഓൾ നോ, നമ്മൾ ടെക്നിക്കൽ സബ്ജക്റ്റുകളാണ് പഠിപ്പിക്കുന്നത്. സോ നമ്മൾ തുടങ്ങിയ കാലം മുതൽ തന്നെ വൈറസ് അറ്റാക്ക് എന്നുള്ള രീതിയിൽ നമ്മൾ കമ്പ്യൂട്ടറുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട ത്രെട്ടുകൾ ഫേസ് ചെയ്തിരുന്നെങ്കിൽ ഇന്നിപ്പോ അതിന്റെ ഒരു പുതിയ വേർഷനിലേക്ക്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നമ്മളൊക്കെ പ്രതീക്ഷിക്കുന്നതിൽ അപ്പുറത്തെ ഒരു സ്റ്റേജിലേക്ക് കാര്യങ്ങൾ മാറിയിരിക്കുകയാണ്. അപ്പൊ അതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ പുതിയ കാര്യങ്ങൾ നമ്മൾ അറിയണം, നമുക്കത് ഫേസ് ചെയ്യാൻ അറിയണം, നമ്മുടെ കുട്ടികൾക്ക് പറഞ്ഞു കൊടുക്കാൻ കഴിയണം. ഇതെല്ലാം തന്നെ വളരെ പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ടതാണ്. അപ്പോൾ ഈ പുതിയ കാലഘട്ടത്തിലേക്ക് ആവശ്യമുള്ള ആ ഒരു ടെക്നോളജി, അതായത് AI ഡ്രിവൺ ആയിട്ടുള്ള പുതിയ ആപ്ലിക്കേഷൻ ഡെവലപ്പ് ചെയ്ത് വരുമ്പോൾ അതിനെ തന്നെ നമ്മൾക്ക് ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടിലാക്കുന്ന രീതിയിൽ മാൽവെയറും സ്പൈവെയറുകളും അതെല്ലാം ഇത് മൊത്തം തന്നെ ബ്ലോക്ക് ചെയ്ത് ഈവൻ റാൻസം വെയർ തന്നെ ലോകം മുഴുവൻ വ്യാപിക്കുന്ന ഒരു കാലത്താണ് നമ്മൾ ജീവിക്കുന്നത്. സോ ദാറ്റ് ഈ കാര്യങ്ങളെല്ലാം തന്നെ നമ്മൾ അറിയുക, നമ്മുടെ സ്റ്റുഡൻസ് അറിയുക എന്നൊക്കെ ഉള്ളത് വളരെ പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ടതാണ്. സോ ഇവര് ഇപ്പോ ബേസിക് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ചില പ്രോഗ്രാമുകൾ ഇതുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട് നടത്തുന്നുണ്ട് എന്നാണ് എന്നോട് പറഞ്ഞത്. സോ ദാറ്റ് നമ്മുടെ ഓരോ ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷനും എങ്ങനെയാണ് അവരുടെ റിക്വയർമെന്റ് അനുസരിച്ചിട്ട് ദേ ക്യാൻ ഡിസൈൻ. ഇതൊരു നമുക്ക് കമ്പൽസറി ആയി ചെയ്യേണ്ടുന്ന ഒരു കാര്യമല്ല. പക്ഷെ എന്നാലും പുതിയ ടെക്നോളജിയുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട കാര്യങ്ങളിൽ ആർക്കൊക്കെ താല്പര്യമുണ്ടോ അവർക്കൊക്കെ തന്നെ ഇവര് സജസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്ന കരിക്കുലം എന്താണ് എന്നുള്ളത് നോക്കുക. അത് നമ്മുടെ സ്ഥാപനങ്ങളിൽ അത് യൂസ്ഫുൾ ആണ്, നമ്മുടെ സ്റ്റുഡൻസിനൊക്കെ യൂസ്ഫുൾ ആണ്, നമ്മുടെ ഫാക്കൽറ്റിക്ക് യൂസ്ഫുൾ ആണോ എന്നുള്ളത് ഓരോ ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷനും അവരവരുടെ കപ്പാസിറ്റിക്ക് അനുസരിച്ച്, ഓരോ സ്ഥലങ്ങളിലെയും റിക്വയർമെന്റ് പലതാണ്. നമ്മുടെ ജിയോഗ്രഫിക്കൽ ഇതനുസരിച്ച്, ഡിസ്ട്രിബ്യൂഷൻ അനുസരിച്ച് പല സ്ഥലങ്ങളിലാണ് നമ്മുടെ ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ നിൽക്കുന്നത്. സോ ദാറ്റ് നിങ്ങൾ നോക്കുക, നമുക്ക് ആർക്കൊക്കെയാണ് ഇതിന്റെ ആവശ്യമുള്ളതെന്ന് നോക്കുക. സോ ദാറ്റ് ആ ആവശ്യങ്ങൾ നിങ്ങൾ അനലൈസ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് അറിയിക്കുക. എന്നിരുന്നാലും ഇവരിപ്പോ ബേസിക് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഇഷ്യൂസ് എന്തൊക്കെയാണെന്നുള്ളത് അഡ്രസ് ചെയ്യും. അതിനെപ്പറ്റിയുള്ള ഒരു ബ്രീഫിംഗ് തരും, ഒരു ക്ലാസ് നടത്തുമെന്നാണ് എന്നോട് പറഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്നത്. എനിവേ, എല്ലാം നന്നായി വരട്ടെ. ഈ ഒരു പ്രോഗ്രാമിന് എല്ലാവിധ സക്സസും ആശംസിക്കുകയാണ്. ഐ എം സോറി അഗെയിൻ, ഞാനിങ്ങനെ ട്രാവൽ ആയതുകൊണ്ട് എനിക്ക് അതിൽ പ്രോപ്പറായിട്ട് കയറാൻ കഴിഞ്ഞില്ല. എന്തായാലും ഈ പ്രോഗ്രാം നന്നായി നടക്കട്ടെ എന്ന് ഒരിക്കൽ കൂടി ആശംസിക്കുന്നു. താങ്ക് യു വെരി മച്ച്. ബൈ.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And ma'am, I am taking 1 more minute, and because I will introduce Mr. Manoj, Dr. Manoj. Dr. Manoj is basically an AI engineer and a cybersecurity expert. He was working with Ethiopian cybersecurity, and he was a designer for actually the Ethiopian cybersecurity system. And he has MTech in cybersecurity and AI, artificial intelligence, and his doctorate also he has taken from his cybersecurity system. And he was now in Kerala. He is one of the expertise in and for different companies. He is suggesting cybersecurity system. He is an industrial expert, and I'm handing over my mic to Dr. Manoj. And Manoj, welcome. Please take the class. We are both are working for Skoliko. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir, to all of you. And at last, we have of this session, there is a CTF challenge will be there. Please join. Everybody has to participate in this challenge. And any doubts, freely you can discuss. After the class, we are ready to wait for after maybe 1 hour or 2 hours. We don't have any issues. So please discuss. Your participation is very much required for this, and then only we will able to understand a lot of things from your side also. You all, whatever your doubts can you can ask him. And one more thing I will tell you, it is your cyber security is starting from a good morning message which is coming to your mobile. രാവിലെ വരുന്ന ഗുഡ് മോർണിംഗ് മെസ്സേജ് ആയിരിക്കും ആദ്യത്തെ ത്രെഡ് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഉണ്ടാകുന്ന സൈബർ സെക്യൂരിറ്റി. സോ ഐ എം ഹാൻഡിങ് ഓവർ മൈ മൈക്ക് ടു ഡോക്ടർ മനോജ്. താങ്ക് യു.
Thank you, sir. So good afternoon, respected faculty members, and most importantly, respected Dr. Arun Kumar, sir, Dr. Leda, madam, and our director, Vincent Thomas, sir. It's a privilege to address a group of educators, that too from IHRD. They are actually busy shaping the next generation of technologies and innovators. So today's our session actually focuses on topic that is, no longer optional, as Dr. Arun Kumar already has mentioned. It is a must to learn, field. And as faculty members, we are not just teaching subject actually, so we are preparing our students for a digital world filled with the risk, challenges, and every domain, whether it is computer science, electronics, IT, non-IT, non-technical field, it is very deeply interconnected with cybersecurity. So therefore, cybersecurity awareness and expertise must become a core academic responsibility. As you know that the cyber threat landscape has evolved very dramatically, from simple viruses and worms to highly sophisticated, AI-driven, targeted, persistent attacks. And also we know that attackers are, these days well-funded, they're highly skilled, and they are operating as organized groups, or even sometimes they're acting like, nation-state actors. So even, as the doctor has rightly mentioned, technologies such as AI, cloud computing, IoT, they're all actually, increase the both opportunities, at the same time, increased vulnerabilities. So as faculty members, our prime target should be like, how we can actually help our students, in handling this, field, how to make them, have a wonderful background in the field of cybersecurity, how they can actually help the whole nation in preventing data breaches, how they can actually pursue research in the field of, cybersecurity, how ransomware attacks and other malicious attacks, even in the institutional infrastructure, how they can protect themselves, and also, to help the nation. Okay, and so let me start the program. So as it has been already mentioned, the title is Modern Cyber Threat Landscape and Advanced Attack Mitigation Methodologies. So in this one, what I'm planning is, mostly I wanted to have it, if possible, 60% practical and 40% theoretical. Let us see, within this time frame, let us try our level best to cover up everything. So let me start. As usually I used to always give this important quote from the very famous book called The Art of War. It says, the art of war teaches us to rely not on the likelihood of enemies not coming, but on our readiness to receive him. Not on the chance of he's not attacking, but rather on the fact that we have made our position unassailable or unattackable. So that means we have to actually wait for the enemy to come anytime, prepare ourselves anytime, every time, so that our system will be unassailable. This is the meaning of this quote. Having said that, let us have a prelude. As you know, that cybersecurity is no longer optional for engineers and other people along part of science. Every sector is affected: banking, healthcare, government, education, and as you know, India is one of the top target for cyber attacks. So universities like IHRD must prepare students for security-first computing. And faculty play the most critical role as mentors. So today's topic, I'm covering a bit longer number of topics, but I'll touch on these very, very importantly. First, let us see the landscape, cybersecurity landscape. a brief foundation on cybersecurity, and then we'll step into cryptography. That is one of the strong component of cybersecurity. And we'll learn how, even practically we demonstrate certain things. Then we'll see how, as faculty, we can help our students to develop a kind of a cybersecurity, a setup. Or a kind of an infrastructure they can have to practice because cybersecurity exercises are always sometimes malicious, and sometimes the bridge or between whether it is ethical or unethical is very narrow. So we can either they can fall into the other side very easily. So it's very important and very clear that we should have an appropriate lab architecture, a well-sound contained lab infrastructure. So anything goes wrong, it's only affect that contained area. That is also very important. So we'll be talking about that. Then I'll be talking about penetration testing, which is also we are going to deal it in an ethical way. We will see how the most popular operating systems of these days, like Windows operating system, for example, Windows servers, which is supposed to be highly secure, how we can attack them. I'll show you some very simple techniques to show you that they are not safe at all. Their safety level is very minimum. And unfortunately, this is a fact with most modern systems. Then I will also show you some very important intrusion because we have to talk about defensive systems. So I'll be talking about intrusion detection. What are the different type of intrusion detection system we can? What exactly intrusion detection means? What are the tools we have? How we can do some research in that area? How we can configure and deploy intrusion detection system? Then I will be getting to certain activities like some packet capturing. That is one of the elementary activity that any cybersecurity researcher or people they are involved in cybersecurity perform. And then I come to the gamification part of the entire cybersecurity, which is nothing but CTF, capture the flag competition. Internationally, there are plenty of CTF competitions are happening, and India also is leading in this particular field. And many institutes are participating in CTF challenges. And actually, even these days, industries are recruiting students after conducting a CTF, kind of a challenge. So if they can solve the CTF challenge, that actually prove their expertise in that particular area. Mostly CTF challenges are prepared that way. So we'll be seeing that. Then also finally, I'll be just getting into AI-based intrusion detection. So if time permits, we'll have some demonstration in that session also. And then we talk about, the Skoliko itself. What are the, cybersecurity AI capacity building programs we have? Then we conclude. And so this is the content. So let me first start with cybersecurity landscape. We know very well, cybersecurity attacks are, increasing day by day. And, ransomware attacks are happening extremely frequently. And many of these cyber breaches definitely involve human factors like phishing attacks, weak passwords, sometimes errors in configuring our systems, and also it can be because of the flaws in the programs itself and so on. So we have a lot of reasons why we have so many number of exponentially increasing cyber breaches these days. Okay, so we can say that there is a very high demand for cybersecurity job, and there are about 4.8 million jobs remain unfilled in the year 2025. And it is the fastest growing field and most demanding. So it says the world needs skilled cyber defenders, and the demand is growing every day. That is it's a reality. And then if you open newspapers, you can see there are many news coming on a daily basis. So, as according to CEO of IBM, cybercrime is the single biggest threat to every company in the world. We can see cyber attacks. Even there are some attacks, information about, they're targeting India, etc. There are so many news coming on a daily basis. And what is the primary reason for our, attacks? Our systems are connected. Connectivity is one of the basic reasons. Anonymity is another problem. Okay. So when we have everything interconnected, definitely these attacks cannot be easily prevented. Okay. So we have cloud platform, IoT devices, our critical infrastructures are being connected, and we have artificial intelligence. These days, even you must be definitely knowing about the Anthropic's, cloud AI, cloud code, cloud coworker can actually perform any human task, including the task of an attacker. So they can generate attack quite dynamically, randomly, and so on. Okay, so if you open, for example, the live threat map, there is a Radware live threat map. We can see, the attacks which are, emerging from various countries, where it is targeting. If you see the list of the companies, the countries that are attacked, we are actually number 2. Like India is the number 2 target. The attacks are coming from our enemy countries, and so on. You can see, so we can see this particular threat map to see the the volume of problem so how we can address this domain is very, very important. So it's a reality that plenty of attacks are coming on on every seconds. So that is a very, very important scenario, right? And let me quickly go through some of the infamous attacks, and one such thing is nothing but Stuxnet. Actually, Stuxnet is considered to be the first cyber bomb, and this is actually an attack of a malware. It is actually a worm which has been produced to target the uranium enrichment centrifuges of Iran. And it's a very sensitive name to even talk about that according to today's scenario. And Stuxnet is one such attack which has been generated, and they could actually destroy many of the centrifuges. In fact, the uranium enrichment centrifuges quite instantly. And this is one example. Similarly, we have so many examples. WannaCry ransomware, wherein a phishing email. You know what is phishing? Phishing is nothing but you will be coming with a genuinely look like link. When you click onto it, malware get infected to your computer system. Then it can spread across the computers that are connected to that machine, and finally, it will encrypt your files, and they will be asking for ransom. So we have actually for example, in Skoliko, we have actually training programs to help the student to understand even WannaCry. WannaCry, how we can analyze. We have a contained virtual machine called as Remnex. In a Remnex environment, we can practice all these malware, how we can actually manipulate them, how we can actually observe their behavior. That's what commonly people do with that. So these are all so many examples. There are examples you can see from the world. You can see the example, right from in India. There are attacks listed, for example, AIMS attacks on our UPA systems. Even in 2025, there were multiple UPA outage and so on. You can find many such examples. I'm not spending time on that because we all are very well aware about these attacks on a daily basis. And the attackers, as I have mentioned previously, are cyber criminal groups, nation-state actors, hacktivists, and so on. Even many times the attacks are coming from inside. So inside threats are also important. Like, for example, disgruntled employees, unhappy employees, even contractors. They have a very good internal access. For them, generating attack is much more easier than outsiders. And there are even script kiddies. They are actually low-skilled attackers using automated. They don't have any knowledge about programming and other stuffs, but they use ready-made tools, and nowadays with the help of AI tools, they generate attacks. Okay, so it's very important that the attackers today often operate as a well-organized cybercrime business. So that is one very important observation that we can make. And there are various type of cyber attack, like malware attack, like viruses, ransomware, trojans, phishing attack, web application attacks. I'm going to show you how this popular web application attack, like for example, SQL injection or SQL injection, cross-site scripting can be detected. What are the elementary ways of detecting? What tools we can use for that? We'll be definitely seeing, and we'll also discuss about what is this advanced persistent threat. Once an attacker exploits a computer, how effectively he will be permanently opening a backdoor to rest of the world, or maybe to his computer, so that every activity that you do in your computer, your machine, are targeted, including the password that you are typing, including the application that you're working with, including your secrets. All will be exfiltrated by these attackers. So I'm going to show you how easily these things can be done by the attackers, and how we can protect it. That's our main target. Our main target is to know how this can be done. So there's a term called as cyber kill chain. Cyber kill chain actually show how the attacks are actually taking place. The very first activity of cyber kill chain is reconnaissance. So reconnaissance also, has an element called as footprinting. That means, you try to find out, or try to collect as much information about the target. the target, that can be the IP address of the target machine. As you know, you should have some basic idea about networking. So networking is one of the most important codes on which you have plenty of very good understanding to to learn cybersecurity. So reconnaissance involve identifying target machine, their target IP addresses, which operating system, because you know that many operating systems are coming with vulnerabilities. So you should try to find out which operating system the target machine is running. Then we go for weaponization, like the hackers, they go for weaponization. The tools like, for example, Metasploit framework has a lot of weaponization. There is something called as MSF Venom. I'm going to demonstrate what is MSF Venom, how MSF Venom can be really venomous, and they generate a payload, and this payload can be transferred to the other side of the machine, maybe in the form of a phishing link, maybe in the form of any other social engineering means. It will be delivered to the other end. And when somehow you are lured to, click onto that link, definitely you will be, your system will be hacked. Okay, so the weaponization, then delivery, then exploitation, then it get permanently installed. There will be a backdoor entry. There is, for example, in Metasploit, we used to have something called as Meterpreter. I'll show you what exactly this Meterpreter is. So once the Meterpreter is installed, then the attacker will get complete control of your machine. So that is what, so this is nothing but cyber kill chain. Now let us come to cybersecurity. As you know, cybersecurity is an umbrella term. We have many things under it because, cybersecurity is the practice of protecting our digital systems, our network, devices, programs, and data from any sort of digital attacks, as we already have mentioned, which involve technologies, processes, practices, even policies. Policies are very important. Like, for example, BYOD, bring your own device to the organization. What kind of protection you have to those devices when people are bringing from outside to your organization? So these things are all comes under the cybersecurity concern. So it's an umbrella term. We have network security, cloud security, application security, IoT security, mobile security, etc., etc. So it's an umbrella term. Many of these things need to be handled. Now, let me go through a few important terminology. I know, some of you are not familiar with this particular domain. So actually, there are three important groups of people. They are working in cybersecurity. One is the red team people. They are, basically their duty is to do offensive, because, even in my title, slide, I have shown an offensive and a defensive component of cybersecurity. So we have, when you say offensive in our, cybersecurity training, offensive means ethical activities. We will try to find out, we try to emulate the attackers. What are the different ways your system can be targeted? Whether our system is really vulnerable and how we can actually generate such attack, So this is, we will be definitely seeing. So, the red teaming is nothing but they emulate real world attacks to uncover real vulnerability in your system. So finally, they will prepare a report and submit to the organization head to say that these problems are there. So during this process, red teamers will perform pen testing. They run advanced attack simulations, and they've tried to find out, and they try to find out all the weaknesses. Sometimes even they try to find out zero-day vulnerability. A zero-day vulnerability is a vulnerability which is not yet been known. There is actually a database which is called a CV database. Actually, CV is nothing but it's a very important. It is nothing but common vulnerabilities and exposure data. Actually, there is a cvdetails.com website. You can go over there. You can type the name of the operating system. For example, Windows. You can get how many number of vulnerabilities it has. And recently, interestingly, the Anthropic, the Cloud AI could detect about 500 or more zero-day vulnerabilities in a very short period of time in one of the browsers. So that means, even some of the zero-day vulnerabilities can't even be commonly being perceived by human being, because, when you interconnect many vulnerabilities together, for example, a simple example, string concatenation. Before concatenating two strings, you're not checking the size of the string size. So that itself is a very safe. Then that can lead to buffer overrun. That can actually, give room for the attackers to get into your system so easily. Okay. Then the other side is blue team, and their activity is only defensive, protect and monitor the system. So we should have some intrusion detection system. We should have some SIEM tools. And when cybersecurity, there are many rules. One role is nothing but SOC. It is nothing but Security Operations Center and SOC Analyst. SOC Analyst is a common job opening or job designation that you find it in many organizations. They look for SOC Analyst, and there are a lot of certifications which people are taking to get into this particular domain. So their main activity is to do, analyze your system to detect and respond and mitigate any type of threat. So we use SIEM tools, which is nothing but security information and event management tool. I'm going to demonstrate one such tool called as Splunk. What is Splunk and how Splunk can be used by an SOC analyst to actually, to actually detect attacks and to take some action about that, to generate report, etc. And blue teaming is someone who collaborates with security. Red teamers with blue teamers. They integrate insights and so on. Okay. So let me quickly go through, these important terms. Like, for example, what is a threat? Threat is nothing but a potential for attack. And vulnerability, security weakness. It is just like, a threat is definitely there when your system is connected to the internet in a highly unreliable open system. Once your system is connected to the network, there is threat. And what is vulnerability? The weakness in your system. If your system is not protected, anytime this threat can actually utilize those vulnerability, and it becomes a very serious risk. So we can say that risk is nothing but a product of threat and vulnerability. If there is threat, but if you have zero vulnerability, there is no risk. Similarly, if there is, if there are no threat and there are plenty of vulnerabilities, still your system is risk-free, because, there are no threats. So we can say it's a product of threat and vulnerability. Okay. Right. And cybersecurity defense is normally done through in layers of activities. So most important thing is our data, right? So data should be encrypted. We should have proper access control mechanism to that. And on top of that, we have application, which is actually encapsulating the data, because you access data mostly through our, applications. So there should be in proper validation of input. There should be, proper host IDs. There should be proper vulnerability assessment and so on. And then we have to talk about the machine in which these applications are running, the host in which which is having an operating system. Again, it should have various type of intrusion, personal intrusion detection systems, virus protection system, and so on. Then on the network, we should have network-based intrusion detection system, and so on. And in the perimeter of the network, the border of the network, we should have firewalls, VPN devices. We should have either traffic encrypted like IPsec communication, and so on. All should be in place. So we can say that security is not a single solution. Rather, security is like a layered organization of various security technologies, so that we can get a better defense. So we call this as defense in depth. Okay, this is also a very important thing. Now, before getting into the other aspect, there are a few very important aspects of when we talk about cybersecurity. These triads are very significant. The first one is CIA. CIA stands for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So whoever they teach the course on cybersecurity, the very first thing they discuss to students is about these three things. What is confidentiality? Confidentiality is nothing but you have to make sure that our sensitive information is not accessible to any unauthorized individuals or systems. We have to protect our data from any unauthorized disclosures. So that is nothing but confidentiality. And for confidentiality means most of the time we encrypt. We encrypt every time we encrypt and keep somewhere. We encrypt and send, because data when you is in transit should be again encrypted. Okay. Then the next one is about availability in integrity. Integrity means make sure that things are not modified. So it's very important that whenever you keep data somewhere, when you read it, you have to make sure that the data is not corrupted. When you receive a file from your friend, we have to make sure that the file is not corrupted. So for that, we will be performing integrity checking, and we use hashing and other things. Availability, make sure that our systems are available every time. Our email server, our organizational file server, our web server, they're all always available. They should not undergo attacks like denial of service attack. How we can prevent them? It's very important. Another triad is nothing but AAA, which is nothing but authentication. One of the serious problem, the serious reason why we have so much of attacks because of anonymity. We are unable to verify, identities of individuals. That is a serious problem. So what are the different ways we can authenticate? So authentication can be in the form of digital signatures. It can be in the form of certificates. And there are, even it can be using, other things, like passwords and other things. We can have password, like we can even go for multi-factor authentication and so on. Then The next one is authorization. Like even after login, we should know his privilege, whether he's a normal user or whether he's an administrator or whether he's a supervisor. What are his privileges? According to that only, we should allow him to use the resources. We should not, once somebody log into your system, doesn't mean that he can access everything. For example, if you go to Linux, you know that Linux, we have a root account and we have normally a normal user account, So whoever they are in normal user account are not allowed to access the root account, So that way we should have proper authorization to be implemented in our system, on a daily basis. And other very important thing is accounting. What is accounting actually? You know that in Windows system, even in any digital system, there are a lot of logging facilities. Logging facility means the logging facility will tell like what activities that has really happened in your system. We can have, for example, system log, we can have security log, we can have application log. For example, if you go to Windows, simply type event viewer, you get a very good user interface with all links available for various types of logs. So accounting is basically maintaining such records for security analysis and so on. So that's the thing. Now let me come to there's another cloud-based concept on security, which is nothing but distributed, immutable, ephemeral. Distributed means don't keep your data at one place. Rather, make it have multiple copies. So there should not be any single point failure. We can have replicated copies, that is distributed. So there are a lot of security benefit of that. So there is no question of denial of service attack on that. Immutability means you don't keep changing the content periodically. For example, in our computer, whenever there is a problem, you patch it, you update it. This kind of thing, you don't go for it. Rather, whenever there is, when you install a software, and if you want to update, remove the previous one altogether and replace with a new one. Don't go for kind of, keep working with all those, erroneous system, correcting it. That is nothing but immutable. And then next one is ephemeral, which is nothing but, make everything for a short period of time. Even your password, everything, make it available only for a very short period of time. Because that if you give more time, definitely the attackers can actually use various techniques like rainbow tables to crack your password. So that is not a good day. So ephemeral is another thing. And we have various security controls, like we can prevent, we can detect. So when you say prevent means we use intrusion prevention system. Detection means we should have some sort of intrusion detection system. And then correct, if at all, if there's something goes wrong, is that possible to, remediate it? Then another thing is deterrent, like, is that possible to have a honeypot? Honeypot is a system into which, your attackers will be attracted so that the actual system is protected, and then, our common setting means what are the other alternative, mechanisms. So now the whole scenario, if you see, this is actually a diagram in which a campus network is shown. We can see employees are over here. We have various servers like file servers, etc. And we have even, certain number of servers which has to be accessed from outside. For example, our email server, we should send and receive emails. We should have our web server like Apache server and so on. We should have it over there. They all should be connected to outside. But there are certain servers which is purely for your internal accessibility. So in that case, we have DM set, which is demilitarized zone. Demilitarized zone can be normally configured with a firewall. If you have a firewall, we have a DM set port to which we can have all these machines connected. And most importantly, we can have multiple layers of such protection, multiple firewalls. We can even have host-based firewall. And especially when the systems are wireless, there are a lot of possibilities of backdoor events. So it's very important that, for example, we have hotspot, maybe a Skoliko hotspot. And, what are the possibilities that, attackers can actually imitate hotspot. And so there are a lot of points on which we need to really seriously think about security, starting with your own machine, starting with your servers, on your network devices like your routers, your switches, your firewalls, and so on, so on. So there are many points on which the security that need to be really seriously think about. And now let us get into the practical side of cybersecurity. The very first quality that our students need to have is a very good understanding about networking. So when we say networking means we should know that, I know some of you definitely must be knowing about the layered organization of the networks, because when you say machines, every machines are addressable. So we should know how every machine is addressable. We are addressing machines by IP address, and every machine has a network interface card. So we have MAC address. So in a local area network, every machines are communicating with the help of MAC addresses. But once the packets are moving out of local area network, we have IP addresses, and IP routing is important. And then above, the network layer, we have transport layer, and there are two very important protocols, namely TCP and UDP. TCP is connection oriented. UDP is, connectionless. TCP has a lot many flags. So as a if you want to become good in cybersecurity, you should have a very good understanding even about IP packet, its structure, its flags. So for example, when it comes to TCP, you should know about source port, destination port. You should know about some flags like SYN flag. There is, for example, if a computer want to connect to a server, the very first thing what computer client will do is it will send a SYN request and wait for the server to send an acknowledgement with its SYN sequence number. And then after that, you will be sending one acknowledgement back to the server to complete a three-way handshake. Then TCP connection is established. This basic handshake operation itself are exploited by attackers. What they do, they simply generate SYN request and they never reply an acknowledgement. So what happened? Our target machine becomes stuck and you won't be able to make any progress beyond that. So that way it goes like that. So now there are different type of malware. I'm not spending too much of time on each of the malware, but we have viruses which will be attached to normally to existing executable file. When we execute it, the virus also get in action. We have worms are actually it's a self-contained independent programs which can actually get through the net. It spread very fast. It can actually multiply itself. There are examples like configure, etc. And Trojans are disguised software. So for example, it will be looking, for example, in a Windows operating system, there is a file called as autorun.inf, and which actually its purpose is actually whenever we are inserting an external device or when we open a drive, normally, for example, when you are inserting, automatically the content should, the file explorer should open, and if it is an audio file, the audio should start play. And normally in bootable device and all, we find such files. And what happens? The attackers will hijack this particular file, and so it looks very genuine. We try to, if you double click it and if you execute it, actually the whole system will be the rest activity will be controlled by that the malware. And we have various type of Trojans, even backdoor Trojans, spyware Trojan, and so on. Trojan is basically it's a kind of masquerading. Masquerading means disguising like a legitimate one. And I'm not reading all the top malware. We have many top viruses, worms, Trojan, ransomware, spyware. You know about Pegasus. It's a commercial grade spyware. So these are all some examples on that. Then we have rootkits. Rootkits are actually malware which is getting into operating systems privileged account, like the boot account, and then get all the advantages. They actually elevate their privileges and so on. Then there are even fileless malware. Interestingly, even Metasploit, when we generate for example, using MSF Venom, we generate a payload. Once that payload reaches the target, that target will always have this file malware will be in the memory. If it is in memory, what happens? When you reboot, it disappears. When you boot again it appears. That means in the hard disk, you don't find any trace of that malware. So that is a problem, right? Because most of the viruses will be searching your hard disk, your secondary storages, and looking for malware. But these fileless malware will be available only in the memory, and that is why memory forensic is a very important activity which cybersecurity people are performing. And we'll be talking about MEMLABS, and that is a very introduction step. We can say stepping stone towards research in the field of memory forensic. And then we have keyloggers, are very dangerous. I'm going to demonstrate, if time permits, I'll be showing you how these keyloggers work, etc. Right? So we have multiple controls over these malware. We can have endpoint protection detection system. We can have security control. We can have email security, etc., etc., etc. We have actually a list of them. And as we know that there are a lot of attacks in the category of social engineering. It attack the target by sending some fraudulent emails. So phishing attack, and phishing again, there are different type of phishing, like a spear phishing, targeting individuals. Whale phishing means targeting some high profile people so that they get a better opportunity to maybe monetary benefit. Similarly, voice-based phishing and so on. And there are a lot of technical attack methods. And if you want to know what are the top attacks that are happening on our web systems, we can actually refer to OWASP. it is an open web application security project. Actually, you can go to OWASP website. They actually year by year, even last year to 2025 November, there was an OWASP conference. They actually listed the top 10 attack. And if you go through the top 10, we find injection attack, SQL injection attack, cross-site scripting attack. I'm going to briefly show you these top attacks and how we can actually protect. Okay, then of course there are physical attacks and so on, right? So there are so many AI-based emerging attacks also. We have deepfakes, AI-enhanced phishing, then IoT botnets. The problem with IoT device, IoT devices are having very minimum resource. So we cannot actually have, serious complex protection mechanism. Many times what attackers will do, they will make IoT devices as like, bots, and they prepare a botnet, an attack network, and finally using that IoT devices, they generate attack, because IoT devices are coming with a very minimum protection, because you cannot have an malware, anti-malware or antivirus or anti-spyware in their systems. It's very difficult. So there are a lot of attacks related with cryptocurrency, blockchain threats. For example, there are secret mining of cryptocurrency possible, and so on. Okay, and in mobile world, there are a lot of mobile malware, cloud misconfiguration related attacks, and so on. So we have plenty of them. If I start talking about them, I can talk for hours on these things. So we don't have to spend too much time on them. But one of the interesting thing is that many of the cybersecurity tools are free in nature. You can have, you don't have to pay too much of money on that. We can get, for example, Metasploit framework for conducting pen testing. You get a free version. There is a professional version also available with some, polished GUI. But if you are not worried about that polished GUI, you can have our Metasploit framework. We have, for example, network scanning tools like Nmap, Wireshark are all free. So we have many, password cracking tool like John the Ripper is free. Volatility for memory forensic, MEMLAB, it is free. Splunk, of course, it is proprietary, but you get a free version, like on a daily basis, up to 500 MB of data you can analyze with the Splunk, which is from Cisco. Then completely open source intrusion detection system. The same tool is nothing but Vasuk is available. It's a wonderful tool, and which can be used. And then there is an pure intrusion detection system, Surikata. I'm going to introduce you. So at least let me try to introduce you all of them together. So let us see the entire anatomy of the cybersecurity. So if you see the brain of, if you compare the human anatomy with the cybersecurity anatomy, the brain is nothing but SOC, which is nothing but Security Operations Center, I just have previously mentioned. Then eyes are nothing but, it's just CCTV continuously monitoring what is going on, just like our security guard, just like our security team in an organization. They continuously monitor the activities, anomalies. That is nothing but SIEM tool. And then we have data encryption, which is nothing but the heart of the entire cybersecurity, which actually protect the transmission, storage of information. Then we have intrusion detection system, that is nothing but our entire nervous system. They transmit signal for quick responses. They they keep monitoring any suspicious activity in our entire infrastructure. So then infrastructure is nothing but the bone, which is nothing but the IT infrastructure. Then the policies are nothing but just like our liver, because they have to actually detoxify the network by, we can say, having proper safe practices. Like if there is a BYOD means an employee is working in an organization, bringing his own device, an infected device, how such a system can be detoxified. So liver of the system is security policies, and we should have proper filtering system. It's very similar to with our kidney. So filters are very sensitive information. They will actually prevent, they'll filter out things. Yes, we are going to see that also. Then the data flow is nothing but the blood of the entire system. They transport vital information, thoughts, everything throughout the network or the entire infrastructure. It's very similar to the blood. And the immune system of our body is very similar. In cybersecurity, it is the anti-malware or antivirus software. It detects, eliminates any harmful infection, like our skin. We can say the skin is our the one which will be giving that opportunity. Having said that, let us come to the very first practical oriented aspect of cybersecurity, which is something about cryptography. Cryptography is actually a mathematical related domain, because most of the cryptographic algorithms are done using mathematical technique. Cryptography and hashing is very important, because that is the way how you check the integrity of anything, integrity of the file or integrity of your system, and so on. So we'll be check. So I'm not going in deep into each of the cryptographic algorithm, but definitely you know that cryptography is the one guarantee confidentiality, integrity, authentication, non-repudiation, etc. Non-repudiation means what? Like repudiation means you do something and you say later, no, I didn't do it. Like you send an email and later you claim that, no, I did not send that mail. That is nothing but repudiation. So we should have some mechanism to non-repudiate. So these all can be implemented with the help of cryptography. So cryptography is the main heart of our cybersecurity. So that's a very important thing. And when you say, look, so even if you don't have much of an idea about cryptography, please understand these are all some algorithms which are implemented in various programming languages like Python, even basic C, C++, even Java. It is available in the form of a module. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Many times in organizations, even to a student, of course, for carrying out research in the field of cybersecurity in cryptography, you should have a very good understanding about every individual cryptographic algorithm. But otherwise, consider it like a black box. Like you have AES algorithm. You give input, you give a key. Key is nothing but to lock it. And whenever you wanted to unlock it, just give the key again and to unlock. This is the way you please visualize cryptographic algorithm. And we have different type of cryptography. Like we have block cipher in a sense. Block cipher is another term for cryptographic algorithm. And what it does, it will actually encrypt the content and produce a cipher text. Cipher text is nothing but the output. Okay. And we have two types of ciphers. One is block cipher, which you will be waiting for a block of data to come, and then you encrypt it and keep it as a block. Another one is stream cipher. For example, if there's a live, event is going on, just the way I'm talking now, and suppose I want to encrypt my talk on a continuous fashion, then we cannot wait for the entire speech to complete. Rather, every time, as and when the things are available, you keep encrypting it. So accordingly, we have different algorithms, and the popular algorithms are like a block cipher. We have AES, DS is actually almost obsolete. We have triple DS, and so on. When it comes to stream cipher, we have RC4, we have CHA20, and so on. So we don't have to too much worry about those every algorithms, but try to understand that there are few cryptographic algorithms play a very important role in the field of cybersecurity, like in an AES algorithm, which is a symmetric key algorithm, which is nothing but for encryption and for decryption. Like for locking and for unlocking, if you use the same key, it is symmetric key crypto system. If you use a different key, it is asymmetric key crypto system. So there are a few examples like RSA algorithm, ECC algorithm. If somebody, at least in my audience today, if at least somebody is good in cryptography, definitely know the terms very well. They know what is the advantage of ECC over RSA, etc. I'm not getting into that level, but quickly let me visualize AES. AES algorithm is a very important algorithm. If you want to dig deeper, this actually block diagram will teach you. And if you want to, for example, if somebody want to really work on cryptography, even Skoliko help you have a separate program on cybersecurity itself. In cryptography itself, very detailed analysis on this algorithm, we can actually help you in that. Even RSA algorithm, which is an asymmetric crypto system. What do you mean by an asymmetric crypto system? For locking, you use, for example, if you have a house door, front door, we have a key for locking and we have another key for unlocking, not the same key. That's very interesting, no? So if that is the case, the locking key you can leave there. After locking, you just hang in front of the door itself, no problem, because then no one can use that key to open it. So this asymmetric algorithms are very useful in cybersecurity because we can use RSA algorithm for key management and also for authentication. We can use RSA algorithm for digital signatures. That's a very interesting field. Let us see quickly about that. So digital signatures are very, very important. So we have to really think about authenticity. And also some of the digital signatures combined integrity also. We can say, for example, HMAC algorithm. We use as DSS algorithm. These algorithms will combine hashing with the key. So you generate a hash. What is a hash actually? Hash means if you give a plain text, it will be generating a unique pattern, bit pattern. And that always represents that some original content. Even if one single bit is modified in the original file, your hash will change. For example, MD5, SHA-1, SHA-256, SHA-3, there are few set of algorithms which are very popular in the field of hashing. So we can combine those hashing algorithm with the digital signature. So we can go for authenticity, integrity, etc. Okay. Now, how we can actually create a digital signature is very interesting. So for example, how we can create a digital signature. For example, I'm going to demonstrate a simple example how we can have Open SSL. Open SSL, how we can use Open SSL for digital signature. I'm going to show you. But before coming to that, try to understand In digital signature, if you have a file, for example, here I have a file named as file.txt, file.txt. First what I do, I'll generate the hash. I'll generate the hash of it. I get a number. Okay. Then what I do now, I'll encrypt that hash with a private key. I remember during signatures, and or leave it. Generally in asymmetric key cryptographic algorithms, you always use public key for encryption and private key for decryption. Public key is just like your phone number, your email ID, you can give to anyone. Whoever they want to send a mail or message to you, they can use that number. That is nothing but public key. Somebody can send using encrypt, using the public key and send to you. Private key is something which is very secret, that you will be keeping with you. You don't give private key to anyone, and because of this reason, we always, we use public key for encryption, private key for decryption. Okay, and during signatures, we use in the other way around. During digital signatures, we use private key for encryption and public key for decryption. So, for example, I am sending, in cryptography, we have Alice and Bob. If Alice wants to send a message to Bob, Alice, what she does, she will be encrypting her hash with her private key sent to Bob. And Bob already has Alice public key. So what Bob will do, he will always try to decrypt, the message, the signature. And if we can decrypt and generate the hash, if we compare the hash values together and both are matching, that indicate that it is coming from Bob. So when we look into cryptographic field, and there is another very modern and very dominant cryptographic algorithm is ECC, elliptic cryptography, and it's a very interesting technique wherein we are using some geometrical technique. We have a wave, you mark some point on the wave, and using the points on that particular elliptic curve, not wave, a curve, in that curve we can perform addition, multiplication, and so on. So this activity help us. So whenever I want to perform any encryption or any authentication, I can use elliptic curve also. Elliptic curve, the advantage of elliptic curve is it is actually much more safer even at a shorter key length. Key length is an important factor when it comes to cryptographic algorithm. So then we have different hashing. I've already have mentioned, and now let us come look into a few demos. So what I'm going to do, I will talk about my infrastructure quickly, but let me quickly come to my virtual machine. So I have actually a Parrot operating system running. So let me actually share my Parrot operating system. I think one of my Parrot operating system is running. If not running, I have to. Okay, let me power on it. So I am going to basically show you how we can use a tool very popularly known as OpenSSL. OpenSSL, which is nothing but SSL stands for Secure Socket Layer. And if you ask me, are we using SSL anytime in our life? Every day when you are accessing a web server, every request you send will be encrypted. They use actually TLS. TLS is actually transport layer security. It is actually a standardized version of SSL. So let me actually open the very famous operating system for cybersecurity experts, which is nothing but Parrot OS. Actually, there are few operating systems. Like, for example, you must be knowing about Kali Linux. Kali Linux is actually one of the de facto standard whenever we come to cybersecurity thing. So now I am at the terminal of Parrot OS. So whoever they have some idea about Linux, as Linux is very popular. I think in Kerala, in engineering colleges, even in colleges, they are allowed to use only Linux. They are not allowed to use even Windows systems. So I think most of us are really definitely familiar with the Linux systems. So let us have our Linux system. I have opened a terminal, and once you have a terminal opened, it's quite easy for me actually to run few things. So what I do, I will make a directory. So I'll make a like for example temp1, tmp1. I will change directory to tmp1. Okay, and then I am going to create a simple file. For example, I will say hello, I am from Skoliko. And then what I do, I will name it as, for example, file.txt. Okay, I'll wrote file.txt. Now what happened in this directory? I've created, you know about echo command. I must be, if you don't know, please don't worry. Just you can practice later on. You have your, Parrot installed in your virtual machine. Just start it. Then, open a terminal. Try this basic, first you understand the directory structure of Linux. Understanding Linux is very, very big. Without Linux and Unix system, no cyber security possible actually, because, we can't actually leave it. And every detection, every system we use, even we detect, problems in Windows system through Linux. This is the way how the whole things work. So now what happened if I give an ls command, file.txt is already created. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to generate a SHA. I want to generate, for example, SHA-256. I'll say SHA-256. Sum is a simple command. Then I will say file.txt. It will generate the, the hash value. So this number, which you can see practically here. This is the number uniquely represent this file.txt. If I make a smaller change, immediately it gets changes. So that is the way how it looks. So now let me encrypt. If I want to encrypt this, particular file called file.txt, I will simply write a command called OpenSSL followed by ENC, then specify which encryption algorithm I should use. For example, AES. And remember, AES, as I told you, mentioned previously, AES is one of the encryption algorithm, and it is available in 1 to killer. So here we are going for the higher security 256, and also it is a block encryption algorithm. So how you are blocking? There are different ways of managing blocks before encryption. This CBC stands for cipher blockchain. Another password. That password will be converted into a key, and this key will be salted. The salt in a sense. You'll be adding some extra characters to it.
Raj, voice.
Any problem with
voice is there is no voice.
Are you sure? Am I audible? Please let me know.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, I think I'm audible, right? Vincent, is that okay? It's audible, I think. Right? So OpenSSL is a very important tool. It is a secure socket layer tool. It is an open version. You can encrypt. And I told you what is salt. They add some additional bit of characters to artificially increase the size of your password so that many rainbow table based password attack can be minimized. Then after that, I'll be giving my input file and I'm outputting file.enc. So finally, I'll say ABCD1234. I give the password. So now I can see the ls command. I can see a new file which is created, file.enc. And so that is a way how an encryption algorithm can we can use very simple, in a very simple way. Now, if I want to command, I will use only thing I'll add a -d, -d, which stands for decryption. All other parameters remain the same, but now the input is and your out is file.dc, dec. So you can actually, decrypt it. And you give the password again, ABCD1234. You give it, then you get your file. This is the encrypted file, and this is the decrypted file. So now what you do, you generate again SHA-256, SHA-256 sum, followed by file.dc. You can see that now this hash value, that means, integrity guaranteed. Whatever has been decrypted is, it is readily available. Vincent is still, are you not able to hear me? What about others? At least one of you, please can.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Right. So this is the way how AES algorithm can work. Similarly, we can actually perform. See, for example, now let me come out file ds file enc. Excuse me 1 minute. 1 minute. Excuse me. Hello, Vincent. Hello. അല്ല മറ്റുള്ളവർക്ക് കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ടല്ലോ ഞാൻ അവർക്ക് ഓക്കെ പറഞ്ഞു അപ്പൊ അവിടെ എന്തോ ഒരു പ്രോബ്ലം ഉണ്ട് ഓക്കെ Okay, so this is the way I can encrypt and decrypt. So now suppose I have, let me open my home, let me open command, so what I do, I will just keep my, original file only. I'll only keep my original file. Now what I do, I want actually, see now in this ls command, if I give ls command, I get AES algorithm using CBC mode. I want to encrypt this file itself. This file itself. So what I do, I will encrypt, create a file, and then remove this particular file. So this command, OpenSSL ENC, gives salt, and then you give the input temporary file, and I'm moving that file to the original file name. Okay, so now let us see. I'm entering it, and I'm giving the password ABCD1234. Okay, then again, only single file, which is file name. So if I say cat file.txt, you can see it's a garbage. You see, it's salted. It says salted. This is actually an indication that the file is salted, and these are all garbage. The whole thing is garbage. So this way, the original content itself is get encrypted. So this is the way you have to actually use. So now what I do, I am only changing, I'm giving one more option, which is press enter, and now I'll give the same password 1234, and I can get my file, get back. See now file.txt, I'll say cat file.txt. I can see, hello, I'm from Skoliko. So this is my original file, and this was the every algorithm, and this is the way OpenSSL. I can even demonstrate a digital signature, how they can actually be used, etc. So in order to save the time, I'm not getting too much into cryptography, but we have every thing. We can actually train you in the, actually get deeper into cryptographic algorithm. That, for example, elliptical cryptography is an algorithm which is not so easy to learn. The learning curve is not so steep. It is quite flat, so it actually requires you to actually spend a real long time, and it's mapped how the points on the curve can be marked, how authentication can really take place using ECC, etc. So we will definitely look into that as well. So now let me quickly come back. So this is the way how actually we are actually train our students, especially multiple encryption. So now let me come to the very important point. See, cybersecurity activities are always dangerous. In a sense, if I use, for example, Metasploit is really, as the name indicates, it can exploit anything. It is actually a Metasploit system. They can target, they can attack your system, they can get your server machine, they can get into your your web server, and it can create a lot of havoc. So it's very, very important that whenever we ask our students to perform cyber tools, very importantly, you have to tell them to use only a host-only network. In a sense, try to use only virtual machines. Have most of these virtual machines can run very well in virtual. All these operating system can very well run in virtual machines. So what we try to do is, for example, in my scenario, I need Parrot. Maybe I need multiple Parrot OSs. One Parrot OS I have Metasploit installed. And is that if you our operating system in virtual machines, you can use any virtual. I'm not insisting you to use QEMU or VMware or VirtualBox. You can choose your convenient one, whichever is possible. Only thing you should have sufficient. So, for example, I prefer, for example, VMware. I'm happy with that. VirtualBox totally free. So that way you can decide on your almost all operating systems work in a very similar fashion. So how my Parrot OS, how my Ubuntu, we need servers. Okay, it's very important because because we have to emulate, very, very important. So we should have servers. We can have an Ubuntu server. We can have a Windows server. So have it installed. And we will give very good training in how to configure Ubuntu server. For example, in Ubuntu server, once the server is configured, how we can install a web server like apart. We can have an intrusion detection system on that particular one. How we can have an email server in one of the servers, and then how we can protect. Like, there are so many open source email servers. For example, we used to teach our students. For example, there is something called round using Suricata kind of intrusion detection system. We can continuously monitor any. One of the advantage by having this infrastructure is that we can keep monitoring every virtual machines by using this intrusion. Some files you can actually keep the list of files. If any attempt to open a file, any attempt to modify a file, you can get an alert. This is the kind of system. So for example, if I'm an SOC, if I'm a cybersecurity expert, I go to a company, then I want to analyze the vulnerability in the systems. Then I try to intrusion detection systems. I install SIEM tools, security, information and event management tools like Wasuk. It's a free tool, or Splunk. I'll have Splunk or Wasuk in one of the servers, a couple of servers, and they keep monitor anyone who do internally try to modify any file, open a file, I get an alert. As an SOC analyst, I get an alert. So in order to practice such kind of a thing, it's very important that you should have a virtual machine based. Okay, so I can have Metasploit separately. I can have, and very importantly, all are connected through host-only network. What do you mean by host-only network? Host-only network uses normally private IP addresses. And every compute and every virtual machine means it's like a normal machine, because it has a network interface card. For example, I'm using VMware. I can actually configure, and then I can configure the VMware host to have a DHCP server or a static IP address allocation. What is DHCP? Which is nothing but dynamically I can allocate IP addresses. So what I do, I will actually make private IP 168.100.10. This is actually, if you remember IP addresses, this is a class C IP address 192. Similarly, there is 10.10. 10 series IP address class A. But these days we don't use classful IP addresses. We use we put a slash, you say how many number of bits are part of network ID, we'll say that, and then we have this IP. So we need to know about the IP addresses, and these IP addresses are private IP addresses. They're non-routable. Not only that, these IP are confined to one network, which is not connected to the rest of the world. They're called as host-only network. And normally when we have virtual machines, these stand for network address translation. And you can actually have this private IP address also can be connected to the network if you change host-only network into NAT. Okay, so let me show you this. This is the way my suggestion. Please tell our student never use our existing infrastructure to practice penetration testing. We are not, that's really harmful. So what you can tell them, and if you have sufficient machines, at least few laptops, if they have sufficient memory, you don't require any serious graphic card or something. Graphic card is very good. If it is there, we can practice some a machine model creation. Things will be much more easier. But even nowadays we have RAM and hard disk space. at least 16 GB RAM if you have. And nowadays, every laptops are coming with 16 GB RAM in minimum. Of course, the lesser also will be available, but 16 GB if you get, you can divide that memory. But at a time, you open only few of them. You don't have to open every. For example, in this one, I have a VM network, I have Parrot OS, I have Ubuntu server, I have I have Metasploit, running maybe in Kali Linux. So separately, I have Windows 10, maybe n number of. Only limiting factor is my hard disk space. Each of them requires some 20, 30 GB hard disk space. And once I can create any number of virtual machine. Only thing, according to the physics, many number of virtual machine only. For example, at a time, now I'll open only Kali Linux and Windows 2016 server. That's all. I don't want now Parrot. I'll open Kali Linux and others are all shut down. So the memory can be managed. Sometime added into, for example, out of 60 GB, some 6 GB to my Windows 11 host machine. Then I have Parrot OS some maybe some 4 GB. My other one some 2 GB. Another one some 4 GB. So I'll be dividing. I'll start all of them parallelly. But practically changed. I will show you that. I'll practically show you that. So that is the thing. So let me practically show you how this can be done. So let me have the lab demo for that. So let me actually again come to my virtual machine. I think all of you are able to see this. So this is, I'll go to my library of virtual machines. I have even in QEMU, even in your VirtualBox, you get a menu of all the virtual machines currently, because I have so many. I have GNS I'm using for my network practices to demonstrate IPsec. I want to configure 2 routers. For that, I use GNS3 VM, which can actually even communicate with virtual machines. Then I have Metasploitable. They have Kali Linux. I have Ubuntu server, Parrot security, multiple Parrot security, Ubuntu server, Windows server 2000. I have so many operating systems in an array. What I've done, I will come to my home, have an ISO image, I can create a new virtual machine. Most of the time I simply open. What I do, this all virtual machine, I'll keep it in my secondary storage. Whenever I need some virtual machine, I simply bring it. And also at the same time, what I do normally, I will serious modification one of the operating system. Then what I do, I'll install something. For example, I want to install DVWA. What is DVWA? Damn vulnerable web application. For my web application security research, I will use DVWA. I want to, it requires a lot of steps actually. It has actually, that's why we need a little more time to know how all these things can be installed. So that really requires a lot of time. But if you, during workshops, we teach you in that way that we teach you every step by step configured and everything. But today, let me just introduce you the whole concept so that you can definitely guide your students to have such an infrastructure. So what I do, I have all this, so I can open, for example, I am using my Parrot security wallet here. And the most important thing is I'll go to edit menu, I'll go to my virtual network editor. In virtual network editor, it lists out all the virtual network interface cards or virtual interface I have. I have VMnet 1, I have VMnet 2. For example, VMnet in a host only network. What I do, I will, and before doing that, I'll come to change settings. I have to give authentication. Once I do authentication, it will get restarted. Most of the time, these things, almost all sort of, and it will take some time, etc. So time is very, very important. So once I do that, I will come, come to host only network. So it is assigning subnet IP addresses, host only network. Then I will say, for example, use local DHCP service, be, applying this one. So this is actually VMnet 0. Then I will be, for example, this is actually a subnet. The local area network address is 192.168.204.0, which has to be starting IP address, which has to be the ending IP address. Okay, then you can give some time for that, how long this can be valid. You can set everything. So that way, the most important thing is you have to make that particular, then you click OK, you close it. Okay. Now what I do, this Parrot OS, for example, this Parrot OS, I'll just go to right click, or I'll go to edit virtual. Every time before I start my virtual machine, I will edit my virtual machine and I will change how much I'm using Splunk. Splunk require minimum, according to them, require minimum 8 GB of RAM. But for some practical, even minimum, at least you have to give 6 GB. So what I do, I will, during the demonstration of Splunk or even WASP, ZAP, ZAP is actually a tool which is given by OWASP. And when you work with ZAP also, I will increase my, I dynamically increase my RAM size. If I have a lesser RAM, your computer will become, your virtual machine will hang, and also it will generate a lot of heat, etc. So these things are very important. But the most important thing, even number of processors, and you can select it, number of processors according to the workload you have, and the kind of workload or kind of thing is our network adapter. Currently, the network adapter is connected to NAT, so I want to communicate that with only host only. So what I do, I'll go to VMnet 2 and I click OK. So now this virtual machine now became part of the that particular. I have a Kali Linux, so let me edit virtual machine setting of Kali Linux. I have this NAT. I will change it to my custom VMnet 2 host only network. I'll apply here. And then I'm going to use now Windows Server. I'm going to demonstrate some, and I will be convert this already VMnet 2. And now this Ubuntu server, I don't, currently it is running, so I will be getting into it. I'm just, shut down it. You can give shutdown command, or you can directly come over here and you can shut down. So let me shut down activity using Windows Server and Kali Linux. So this is exactly we are going to see. So for that purpose, I'm going to shut down. Now what I'm going to do now, I'm going to start now Kali Linux for on this virtual machine. And meanwhile, let me come to my next topic. So what exactly is penetration testing? We are actually doing some techniques, tactics, and procedures, TTPs. This is nothing but tactics or procedures to actually perform. We have to do some reconnaissance, as I told you previously. We have to give some payload delivery. You calculate some payload, you have to deliver to the other side, and then we have to execute some code, then create a backdoor. This is what let me 1 minute. I will show you my screen, virtual machine screen shortly. So let me just run so that my Kali Linux will be starting, and also I'm starting my my Windows server. So by the time I'll explain, it will be ready. So we are having some tactical activity to identify that to it. So we'll be performing some pen testing activities, pen testing activity. Actually, during this, pen testing, the reconnaissance is normally done through, for example, I can use Nmap to detect. Nmap can be used to detect, the target. We can use Nmap. We can use Netcat. Netcat tool can be used to artificially create a, a server, and then you can actually communicate with the server, etc. So pen testing normally involves reconnaissance, scanning the target, escalate the privilege. You try to change your privilege, somebody's privilege to user account to administrator account, and then try to create a metadata if possible from the background. So this is what we can. Then you perform in your report. This is actually during pen testing. After submit your respective people so that they know what are the weaknesses in your system. So that's the reason why you're conducting pen testing. Critical thing here, it's everything done ethically to show that these are all the things. So I'm going to show you now Metasploit. Metasploit is having a certain workflow. You have to select an exploit about your machine, your attacker's machine and target machine. So there are 4 parameters. One is local host. L host stands for your own IP address. R host stands for remote host IP address. L port stands for your port number. So these 4 parameters are very important when you are configuring things. 1 minute. Hello? Okay. Stop here now. You demonstration okay. Okay, sorry, the time constraint is definitely there. The time is very short. So pen testing lab demo is what I'm going to show you. So for pen testing, I have actually CTF challenges also, but unfortunately, this time is not enough to do all such actual machines. So let me share the virtual machine screen. See, now this is my Windows server. So Windows server is running. So normally when Windows server running, there is a server manager dashboard comes in. And I'll just close it, and then I'll just run a command. I'll come to command port. I'll simply give ipconfig command. So to know what is the target IP address. So it is 192.160.100. So let me go to Kali Linux. Let me come to Kali Linux. I will give IP address. What is IP address of this machine? 192.100.130. So everything is ready. So let me actually zoom in for easy viewing. So that is better. So now I have everything ready. This is the thing. So now the very important thing is I will ping first, target 192.168.100.136, 150. That is the IP address of the target machine. So it is pinging. That means I'm able to ping. That means ping. I'll say ping 192.168.100.136. Right? No, I think my Kali Linux IP address is nothing but 130. Says machine is unreachable because you know that it is one reply is coming from 192 to 160.100.1 everything is coming. So that's very interesting. So I'm just closing it. Now let me come to my Kali Linux, and I already have over here. Actually from Kali Linux I can open one more terminal and I can communicate with. So anyway, that is not our target here. So what I'm going to show you now, I'm going to create a a remote door, and I'm going to exploit now Windows Server. How can I exploit? I know the IP address, so we already have verified the. I can also use, for example, I can give this command I can give this command nmap sn. That means without worrying about any port. N stands for do not use port. I will simply run the machines, and then I will get the target. I'll get some information regarding this one net ID. I want to find how many machines are currently operating. That is my idea. So what I do, I will be actually collecting that information. It say that okay, I have this much information is coming. I'm getting some 190. So it say that 192 operating system is available. Its MAC addresses. I get the MAC addresses. Now I can also get additional information. For example, I want to find out what are the port addresses. What I'm doing is now I will see what are the ports that are opening. What are the ports that are currently open. I'll be checking it, and it is actually waiting, and it is scanning the target machine, which is having an IP address of 150, which we already have found in the previous session. And now it will be checking for any ports in my target. Port 80s. Port 80s means I'm very happy because it's an open port. It will allow any unencrypted traffic between the web server. So there's an HTTP server which is running at port 80. But port 43 means there are restrictions because. And also it shows it has NetBIOS running, which is for file transfer. So I'm very happy about that. Now, the next thing what I want to know, what is the target operating system? So I will be giving a switch is 150. I'll give now to find out what is the target operating system, because as an attacker, as an ethical hacker, I wanted to know what is the operating system which is currently running in the target. Okay, so this is the thing that will be happening. Okay, right. So it is working on it. It will be taking a bit more time. What I'm doing is the reconnaissance activity. So now I got the information that this is actually, it is with the 97% guarantee. With the 97% guarantee of 69, it said that whatever information I'm giving may not be 100% reliable, but according to the tool, it said that it may be 97% the target operating system is Windows Server. It has been given. Now what I'm going to now MSF Venom. What I'm going to do, I'm going to generate a payload.exe. I'll specify the localhost IP address 130. That is my IP address, and I'm giving a port number for what I'm going to do now. I'm going to create. So what I'm going to do, I am going to say I'll create a payload.exe. Theoretical aspect of this thing I'll be definitely covering during the the workshops, and there are a lot many things to talk about that also. So now what has done, it has created a payload of size this one. I can actually give a, so that is nothing but the payload.exe. This is it is having this much of size. These are the permission it has. Everything is ready. Now what I do, I want to deliver this to the other side. So for that purpose, what I do, I'll be creating a phishing link. I create a phishing server, and with that server I'm running over here. And we have a very interesting server which is available part of Python. If you have Python 3 available, we can have this Python 3 on this IP address. It's running. Let it run in the background. So now before that, what I do, I'll be starting my MSF console. I'll say MSF console. It will be starting my Metasploit framework console. That is the one on which we are working. And then what I do, I will be running few commands over there. So I'm quickly running to save the time. So there are a few commands I should give. I have to set the payload to that particular, I have to set the local host IP address, and I have to set the port number and everything, So what I do now in Windows Server, I will open a browser. I will open. So it's taking some time. Actually we are left with only 10 more minutes. So let me open the browser, and then this one, it's asking me to, okay. I will type http://100.130:8080. So this one will be connecting to Kali Linux server, which is running here. You see, you can see this is the server on which is running the list, and this is the payload.exe to which I am going to create a link which can be attached through email, or which can be done through any phishing link. So when someone click onto it, it will immediately get downloaded. And once it gets downloaded, it will be available in the target machine. And once that get executed, available. So now, if I give ls, it will list the processes which are running in the target. So now let me show you. I'll simply give a screenshot. Now, for example, I'm working in Windows Server. Let me close this particular one. Let me close this this one. So I was working in Windows. So for example, I will come over here. I will say Notepad. I'll just write in hello. Word, let's say ABCD 1 2 3 4 5 6. I was doing some activity. Okay, I'm opening any application. I'm simply saying these things. And now what I do in the Kali Linux at the Metasploit, I'll simply say screenshot, because there is this Metapreter indicator now create the Windows Server. I'll simply say screenshot. Now it will be getting a screenshot which is saved as a JPG file here. It is lszrzo JPG. Okay, so let me say I can actually come to home. I can actually come to home and 0kh. Can come to this link. I can open. See, this is a screenshot of the Windows. You see, I can easily see the screenshot quite easily, and I can get that password. You see, whatever he's typing, all the secrets, I can keep track of it. So this is the way how you can actually create. One more thing I don't want, because I have a lot of things to show actually during the training program. We can get a lot of detail, but one thing I'm going to show you is nothing but there is something like key logging. Key logging means I want to get now complete detail about that. Like I'll give a command like key scan start. Okay, I'll just type starting the keystroke sniffer. So now I go to Windows Server. I will come here. Hello. Okay, I'll come here. Hello. My username is admin, and the bank password is some underscore hash 56789. So this is my password and everything. Then I'll say, see, now I'm working with my Windows operating system now. Now, what is happening now? Kali Linux, the Kali Linux can very easily take away whatever things that you're typing in. So what I do now, I will simply say key scan. I will say key scan dump, give the command. As an attacker, I will simply say dump command, and it will give the whole details. See, dumping the captured, and my bank password is ABCD something something. Then I pressed shift key, then I pressed underscore, then I pressed shift key, then hash key, then 54678, then carriage return, it stands for enter. So this way I can actually capture many things. And this is a very good example. Metasploit is powerful. It can do a lot many things. Not just I just want to show you only a couple of them, but if it can perform a lot many activities of this kind. So this is the thing. And now I have actually a lot many things. The next one is intrusion detection using Surikata, getting into Surikata, and which is an intrusion detection scheme. And then I want to show you how SQL injection can be detected. What is SQL injection and how it can detect, and how we can how we can actually detect SQL injection, form cross-site scripting attack, how we can detect cross-site attack. These are all the part of it. Then I want to show you Splunk. The only thing is that this whole thing require a lot of time only to start the virtual machine. Start the tool itself will take a couple of minutes. Then to quickly go through the slides before concluding, we have a few things. Then I have a lab demo on Surikata Splunk. Then I have packet capturing, how we can capture packets, and then how we can make an analysis on that. I have a few things on denial of service attack, few Python. I have Scapy in Python, how we can do it. These are all the things. Quite a lot of things I have to demonstrate, but then how to configure IPsec between machine using DNS3, again using virtual machine. Then I wanted to demonstrate some capture the flag, but I think I need one. Let me have one more only for capture the flag. How I want to show you what are the basic elements of capture the flag competitions, and how I want to show you about a few encoding decoding techniques which are commonly used. I also want to demonstrate MEMLAB and give you a problem statement. And if you allow me, if whoever they are, actually today we had a very large crowd, but definitely whoever they really want to work with our director, and if he can arrange one more session, I will be definitely giving a CTF alone challenge and some Surikata based intrusion detection system. And then definitely that will we will also give you that challenge. Actually, we have because without demonstrating, arrange one more session for those they are interested, and that is a very good way. So then I have actually some ANN based intrusion detection system. Anyway, we actually can do that a bit later. Anyway. So finally. So actually, I have to show you our pro. We have a 3-day workshop which is called a Cyber Shield Fast Track. We have 5-day intensive workshop which is a Cyber Defender Pro. We have a 7-day expert workshop which is our Red Team Foundations, and we have a flagship program which is a 6-month industry. And having said that, let me conclude. These are all the very important points which I have mentioned. Cyber threat is a real reality. It is so easily within a very short time. I've shown you a few attacks, and I've shown you some defensive mechanisms. In fact, I want to show you intrusion detection system over to that deep. But anyway, this actually is a definite stepping stone towards cybersecurity. And thank you very much. If you have any doubt, definitely you can ask me. But before that, let me hand over because the time is very much directed to start his speech.
Yeah, Manoj, thank you, Manoj. Thank you very much. It was an excellent experience. I think Alada ma'am. Hello, Lata
Hello,
ma'am.
sir. Hello, sir.
Yeah, ma'am. Is it, ma'am?
Actually, it was very interesting, sir, but the time constraints.
Yeah. Okay, ma'am. So,
Sir, let me invite Dr. Manoj Ray.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
We extend a vote of thanks.
Thank you.
So, Manoj Ray, sir.
Good afternoon. As we come to gratitude. First of all, I sincerely thank IHRD for organizing such a program. In today's fast-changing period, session like this really help us stay aware. Thanks to our respected director, Dr. Arun sir, for inaugurating sessions and for this encouraging words. A very special thanks to our resource persons for this. Your session was not just informative, but also very engaging and practical. The way you explained complex cyber threats and demonstrated real-world scenarios made it easy for all of us to understand and connect. We are also grateful for making the same session possible. I would also like to express our sincere thanks to the IHRD academic coordinator, Dr. Ladakhi, for taking the initiative and making arrangements for this session. Finally, actors made this session lively and meaningful. With that, I conclude the order thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And Sidhu ma'am, can I conclude?
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. If you want further, we can arrange. I'll discuss with Lata ma'am, and if we can one more class, we can arrange for the balance this thing. I'll discuss with him and Mr. Kumar sir. Yeah, thank you. Tell me, ma'am.
Okay, we'll arrange, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Kumar, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for the time you have extended. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Manoj Rai. Thank you very much. Bye.